Welcome back to SolSocial with Dr. Makeba and Friends. I'm Dr. Makeba, your guide on this transformative journey where spirituality meets everyday life. This podcast is all about diving deep, uncovering the truths that guide us, and finding practical ways to align with our highest selves. In today's episode, we're talking about something we all deal with, but don't always understand: triggers. You know, those moments when someone says or does something and it just hits you in a way that you can't shake off. What if I told you that those moments are mirrors, reflections of something deeper within you? Today, we're going to explore what those reflections are trying to teach us and how we can use them to grow. We're going to talk about how the people and situations in our lives often reflect back what's within us. Understanding those reflections can lead to deep healing. Let's be real. We've all been triggered by something or someone at some point. It could be a person's comment, an event, or even something we see online that leaves us feeling unsettled or angry. It's so easy to point fingers and say, that's their problem. But here's the thing. Triggers are often reflections of something inside us that we haven't fully accepted or healed. Now, before we go too deep into the concept, let's take a moment to breathe and acknowledge that we're all human. It's okay to feel triggered. It's a normal part of life. The magic happens when we can use those moments as opportunities to learn about ourselves and heal. So how do we do that? Let's break it down into some practical steps. Tool number 1. Identify the trigger and the pattern. The first thing is simple. When you feel triggered, pause. I know it's hard because our instinct is to react, but the pause is crucial. Once you pause, ask yourself, what am I really feeling here? Is it anger, hurt, jealousy? Now, here's where the reflection comes in. Look for the pattern. Does this feeling show up in other areas of your life? For example, do you get triggered when people are too confident or extra confident? Or by people who seem to have what you want? The truth is, triggers often point to something inside of us that needs attention. Maybe it's a wound from the past, or maybe it's a part of us that we haven't fully accepted. Recognizing that pattern is the first step in this healing. Tool number 2, self-compassion and acceptance. Once you've identified the pattern, it's time for self-compassion. This is a big one. Too often, we're quick to judge ourselves for feeling triggered. We think, I should be over this by now, or why does this bother me so much? But here's the thing. Your feelings are valid. Take a moment to place your hand on your heart. Breathe deeply and say, I am human and I'm allowed to feel. This simple act of self-compassion creates space for healing. It allows you to acknowledge your emotions without letting them control you. And here's the truth. The part of ourselves that we resist or try to hide are often the parts that need the most love. So when you find yourself triggered, ask, what part of me needs acceptance right now? It might surprise you how much relief that brings. Tool number 3, reflecting with curiosity. Let's move on to curiosity. Instead of seeing triggers as something negative, what if we approach them with curiosity? What if instead of immediately reacting, we ask ourselves, what is this trying to teach me? For example, if someone's success triggers envy in you, get curious about it. Is it possible that their success is simply reflecting a part of you that longs to step into your own greatness? Or if someone's behavior triggers frustration, is it possible they're showing you a part of yourself that you've been suppressing? Triggers are like signposts, and they're showing you where your healing needs to happen. So the next time you feel triggered, try asking yourself, what lesson is being reflected back to me here? Approach it with curiosity instead of judgment, and see how that goes. Tool number 4, reframe and release. Now, this is where the magic happens. Once you've identified the trigger, given yourself some compassion, and approached it with curiosity, it's time to reframe and release. Here's an exercise for you when you're triggered. Take a few minutes to journal. Write down what triggered you, what you felt, and what you think is reflecting back to you. Then at the end of your journaling, write the statement, I choose to release this trigger and see it as a reflection of my growth. I choose to release this trigger and see it as a reflection of my growth. This practice is so powerful because it shifts your mindset from being a victim of your emotions to seeing yourself as empowered. You're no longer stuck in the trigger. You're using it as fuel for your growth. Triggers are tough, no doubt about it. But when we approach them with compassion and curiosity, they can be some of our greatest teachers. They show us where we need to heal. They show us where we need to grow and how we can become more aligned with our true selves. So the next time you feel triggered, remember these tools. Identify the pattern. Offer yourself compassion. Get curious about what's being reflected back to you. And then reframe and release. It's all part of the journey. As you move through your day, take time to reflect on what the world is showing you about yourself. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of SolSocial with Dr. Makeba and Friends. If today's episode resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with a friend. Leave a review and subscribe to stay connected for future episodes. If you want to dive deeper into these topics, you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Makeba for Love 222. And remember, all 8 episodes of this season are available now. So if you're ready to keep going, feel free to binge listen to the next episode. Until then, take care of yourself, be gentle with your triggers, and continue on this beautiful journey of self-discovery. I'll see you next time on SolSocial with Dr. Makeba and Friends. Love and light.